To get started, you'll want to go to easyconnect.easychoicetime.com/2. And then you'll click the Get Started. You'll want to sign up for a new account if you do not already have one, and you'll enter in your information. Once you have entered your information, click Sign Up. You'll then be asked to confirm your account by checking your email and clicking on the confirmation link. Once your account is confirmed, you can then log into EasyConnect 2. You'll first want to create a new company, and you can do that by clicking on the Create Company blue button here. You want to select your company name, and then you'll want to select a code, and this is usually provided by your payroll company, and then click Create Company. Once your company has been created, you'll then see it show up under the Select Company section. You can then make sure that your company is selected, and then click Select Company. We can then create a format that we will be importing. So on the bottom right, click Create Format. You'll then want to give this format a name, and this is just for your reference. And then under Format Type, you want to select what type of format this is, and currently there is just the one option. And notice it does say Excel, CSV, Pipe, or Tab. This will take in about just any kind of delimited file or Excel file. You'll then want to select your payroll company's export type. So your options are going to be the Encore CSV or the Online Employer. Most likely you'll be using this Sage Encore CSV. And then the last option here is Upload File has a header row. You will want to check this box if your payroll file, as you can see here over on the left, the first row is an indication of the type of data that is in each one of the columns. Once you have your format created, click on the Create Format button. Your format will now be available to you. You can then browse and upload your payroll file. Once you have your payroll file selected using the Browse button, you can then click Upload Import File. From this point, we can translate our mappings from the software that we had exported it to a importable format that the Encore software will recognize. So the first thing I'll do is, as on the left, you'll see that these column fields, they match our header rows on the left. So I'll want to match these to the appropriate fields on the Export Mapping column. The ID will be the employee identifier, the department rate. Let's type in department here. Each one of these fields are searchable. Rate, we can type in rate. And then when we get down here to our actual data, the hours, the reg, this column D, this is actually a column where the header is the earnings code, and each one of the rows is our data or our number of hours. So in this case here, if we scroll down a bit, you'll see the earnings code, but instead we'll want to select earning code header with data row. And again, that's because the header is our earnings code and each one of the rows is our data. The same way for the overtime, we'll want to select the earnings code with the header. Now when we get to our code 1 and our hours 2, over here you'll see that we have a vacation hours for 20 vacation hours. This is a little bit different where our code is in one column and our hours is in another column. In this situation, you would want to select the earnings code for code 1, and then for hours 2, you would want to select the hours or the amount here. Notice that when you do this, it creates a new field link, and what you'll want to do is you'll want to link these two so you know that all of these hours or dollars are linked to this earnings code. And all you have to do is put some text in here and make sure that the two texts are exactly the same. By doing this, you have now created a link between code 1 and hours 2. And then for our bonus, this is going to be similar to our regular and overtime, where it is a earnings code header and each one of the rows is our data points. Once you have selected your appropriate mappings that will be exported, click Save Format. You'll now notice two sections, code mappings and recent mappings. Code mappings is a bank of all the different datas and the code mappings that are available for this format. Under recent mappings, if the software has found that certain fields have not yet been uploaded in the past, then you'll see them here. This is a great glance at the different additional data that is in this new format that you uploaded that was not there in your previous ones. So you'll want to take note of these to see if there's any mappings that you'll need to do. For example, under our earnings codes, we see that we have our regular, and this is how it came over in the column or the header in the original file. However, we will want to export this as a earnings code 01. You'll want to consult with your payroll specialist to see if these fields are in fact the correct numbers, so they should be able to provide you that information. So once you have your fields mapped under the export, you'll also want to select what kind of type these are. So for example, our regular, this was a hours. The overtime, this was hours. And the vacation, it is actually also hours, even though we have the paid time off here. The paid time off is really referencing a balance. And then under bonus, we'll leave that as the dollars. If your POS software automatically exports the bonus despite it being manually paid out, you can choose to exclude any hours or dollars associated with this bonus import from exporting from the payroll software. So when you go to convert your file, only regular overtime and vacation hours would be exported, the bonus would be excluded. Once you have made your changes, click the Save Changes button. You can then go into your code mappings to see a history of all the different earnings codes, employee identifier numbers, department codes that have been uploaded in the past, and you should see the appropriate fields and the mappings and selections that you had prior. Once you have made all your recent mapping changes and you have made sure that you have saved your changes, click Continue to Export. At this screen, you'll be able to see the file that you uploaded, and then you'd simply be able to click the Export button. Once a file has been downloaded, you can see that it is now set up to be imported into the payroll software. There's a menu option if you ever need to return to a previous uploaded file. If you go to the uploaded files at the top, you'll be able to see a list of all the different files that you have uploaded. You can click Export from right here to download the file immediately, or you can click Continue Export if you then need to click back on any one of the format or mappings to make any changes to your earnings codes, your other mappings, or even with the format, if you've made a mistake and you need to make a change here, and you can then just continue on as you normally would back to the export and then export with the new settings. There is no need to re-upload your payroll file. Back at the payroll file, you also have the option to edit your format. This takes you right to the edit format. If we go back to our start, if we select our company, you now will see the option Manage Format because you already have a format created. And from here, you'll have two different edit buttons. The first edit button will take you back to the original settings if, for example, you needed to change what the export type is. And the second one takes you to the format where you can select your columns, your field links, and it shows you your sample data. If you need to delete a format, it would be under Manage Format. So if you're back at the beginning, you can just select the company that you created the format for, click Manage Format, and then delete the appropriate one. Under Uploaded Payroll Files, you're able to delete files that you have uploaded in the past. Keep in mind that when you delete one of the payroll files that you have uploaded, all your mappings still will remain within the software. It will not delete those. The only time your mappings will be deleted is if you delete the format. Another thing that you can do is upload multiple files at the same time. So here, I'll select my company, I'll browse for my files. Once my files are selected, I can upload the import file. It'll go through, it'll show that each one of the files have been uploaded. Notice that now there's no recent mappings because all the earnings codes, employee identifiers, and department codes, there's no new ones, so we can just continue to export. And then you'll see export as a single file and export as zip for each one of these files now. So this is a new option. Whenever you have more than one file uploaded, you're able to export each one of these. Instead of having to click export, you can click export as single file. This will create one single combined file with all of the data from each one of the files. This is very helpful when you have multiple stores or locations where they all generate different files, send them to you, and then you have to upload, convert them, and then download each one individually. Now you can upload them all together and then download them as one single file to upload into the payroll software if it's all within the same company. If you have multiple companies or companies that are just set up differently on the payroll software, you don't have to download each one of these individually, but rather you can export it as a zip file instead.